freaking first cut. Golly.
Welcome to the First Cut Podcast. I'm Rick Gehman, and today I am joined first by Mark Immelman. Mark, it is good to see you.
It's good to see you boys. Nice to be with you. You're preparing for next week's President's Cup already.
Very excited.
I'm excited, yeah.
Yeah, we were just discussing where we're staying, how we're going to get to the golf course. It's becoming very real right now. So yes, things are happening quickly. It'll be good. Patrick McDonald also here. Patrick, good to see you.
I'm so excited for you guys. I'm so happy you guys can meet up, have fun together, podcast live in person, maybe get a meal. I hope you're brushing up on your French. It's very French there in Montreal, you guys.
It's
just
very French. It's very French.
Well, Rick, I owe you dinner for something, or no, your birthday. We're going to celebrate your birthday.
Oh,
remember? Yeah, I said I was going to buy you dinner.
Happy birthday, Rick.
I accept, Patrick. Thank you. Yes.
Wow.
He's like 23 or something right now.
Yeah, 23. I'm real fresh. Real 23. I'm doing for the 15th year in a row. I'm 23.
Wow.
But okay, I accept. That will be great, Mark. Thank you very much. Well, gentlemen, we are playing a new game today, and this game is called Real or Feel. And we are going to go through.
Yes, I don't want trivia now, is it?
It's not trivia. We're going to go through a bunch of different topics, and you guys are going to tell me whether my topic or my idea or my statement is real or feel. If you agree with it, it's real. If you don't agree with it, it's feel. It's, you're buying or you're selling. It's love it or shove it. We just changed it to real or feel because it's a golf show, Patrick, and that's how we do it.
Yeah, no, I see the tweet Josh just put out. Our heads are in it, which is new. It's kind of catching me by surprise. I'm not sure if I like it, really. I might have to change my head just a shot. Real or feel, I'm hoping there's a banker involved also, kind of like, what is that, Deal or No Deal? Shout out to Howie Mandel. But for the sanctity of the game, I knew we were playing some sort of game today. Typically, I'm a big studier. I go through the outline that Josh puts together very nicely. I have pages and pages of notes typically, but today I'm going free willy. I didn't look at any of it for the sanctity of the game.
Wow. How about that?
Free willy.
Free willy. That's
free willy.
Watch out.
Careful. All right. Well, let's just jump right into this. Next week is the President's Cup. So the first statement that I'm going to make, and I'm going to ask you first, Mark, real or feel the international team will win the President's Cup?
No bias here, I
bet. Very real. Very, very real. I've talked with a few of the players. Everyone seems buoyant right now. And again, I think a lot of this has got to do with this team is energized. I feel like they have a point to prove. They are better than what they were last go around in Charlotte. And then in Charlotte, they're playing against the United States in the United States. Yeah, they're playing in front of a rabid home crowd in the Canadians with a Canadian captain and a few Canadians on the lineup. I feel like it's going to be played on emotion, this thing. And kind of like the U.S. team at the Solheim Cup, I think it's going to be the same sort of vibe.
There's been this idea, it's real that they're building something on the international side, Patrick. Ernie Els unites them under the shield. It goes very well under Captain Trevor Immelman. And now this is your third go around in which the team seems to be trending. In college, we'd say the program, right? The program seems to be trending in the right direction. Is this the year for the breakthrough? International team wins, real or feel?
They are building the culture, as they would say, Rick.
The culture.
I know Mark can certainly allude to that. Real or feel the international team will win the President's Cup? I'm going to say feel. I think they have a very good chance to. Don't get me wrong. I think they're going to be feisty. The road affairs for the U.S. side have been pretty difficult these past two times. Korea was no cakewalk. Australia was an all-time President's Cup between Patrick Reed and the shovel, Bryson DeChambeau and the crowd. Hao Tong Lee doing his thing. Hopefully Mark and the gang gets him involved this year. Not what he didn't take Ernie Els' advice there off the tee at Rome, I believe.
Sungjae didn't really listen very well either, but I think that was more just a language barrier than anything else.
So I do agree with Mark where I think there's going to be a ton of emotions involved with it being in Canada with the 3 Canadians and Mike Weir, obviously. But you look at the U.S. side, they still have the 2 best players in the world by margin with Scottie Scheffler and Xander Schauffele. Schauffele and Cantlay will go all 5, you would think. Same with Scheffler. Burns is playing some really good golf towards the end of the year also. And something that the international team has yet to see is Russell Henley. So little X factor there. Colin Morikawa is playing very underrated golf as well. The putter has come to life in 2024, which could be a game changer. So I'm going to say feel, and I think the U.S. wins a tight one, a tight one.
Just to play devil's advocate here, Patrick, do you know Scottie Scheffler's career President's Cup record?
Oh my gosh. It was one, Rick. Let me have it. Let me hear it.
That is 0-3-1. A half a point for the number 1 player in the world.
I think it was those stupid hats at Quail Hollow, the rope hat that were like big on their heads. They did. He's
going to be doing it again. You saw him at the Ryder Cup. He wore that rope hat. It just didn't look good whatsoever. He should bring out that white Nike hat. He never wears anything else. Have you ever seen Scottie Scheffler in a non-white hat? So, Furyk, if you're into that sort of stuff, should be like, dude, here's your white hats. Go and wear this. Don't even change. In fact, we're going to put you in khaki pants the whole week, and everyone else will be wearing red, white, and blue. Styling.
I can't believe Mark is absolutely right. I am in Google Images right now, and there is nothing but white Nike. He doesn't even wear a black Nike hat.
No.
Oh my god,
this is jarring to me.
And everyone thinks Adam Scott is tonal. Scottie Scheffler takes tonal to another level as well. He's in lack constantly.
What I want to know, Mark, does he wear 4 different white hats a week, or is it the same one?
That I can't tell you. And I've never seen him in black shoes either. Yeah, there's the Rome hat. Oh no, that was Schaub, right? Yeah,
that's horrible.
That rope hat is a stopper, and he and Sam Burns will both wear that thing. And Patrick, to your thing too, not just hat aside. Look, this is 18 holes match play, and that is the equalizer. You know, you throw a form guide out of the window when it comes to 18 holes in match play. You just do. It's played on emotion. You got to putt well. People making putts are people winning match play games. It's as simple as what it is.
Let's move on. Next topic deals with the entirety of professional golf, the PGA Tour and the PIF. Patrick, I'm going to bounce this one to you first. The PGA Tour and PIF have a deal done by the end of the year. Real or feel?
I'm going to say, excuse me. I'm going to say feel on this one because, the news came out today that guys on the PGA Tour side of things want Jon Rahm and company to pay back all that money if they're to come back to the PGA Tour. Some people on the internet thought it was absolutely ridiculous that they suggest such a thing. I don't think it's ridiculous enough, right? Let's public shame this guy. Let's throw him out on the Island Green, TPC Sawgrass, 17th. Everyone throws eggs at him. Let's have him, consider jail time, right? Have we even thought about that? But on a serious note, this thing has been so sluggish, and the one X factor no one is talking about is this big, bad entity called the U.S. government. And so I am going to say feel that by the end of the year, there's a deal done.
Latest reports, Mark, say they are inching closer. Feels like the way that this has been going now. Are we 2 years into this?
I've lost track.
Plus months.
Yeah.
Inching is the appropriate word here. When were they? When there was like a drop dead date, December 31. Remember that
last year, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. There was a provision that basically said, we have the, what was it called? The framework. We will get a real deal done by December 31st, 2023. We are now bearing down on December 31st, 2024.
If you had said to me 2026, I might have said real, but 2025, heck, we're about to be in October, man. I'm turning 54 in just a few days. No deal happening this year. If it does, color me surprised. I will fall over I'll be as surprised as what I was in that fateful Tuesday morning or Monday morning, whatever it was, when all of a sudden Jay and Yasser were on CNBC. Remember that? That came out of the blue at everybody.
Yes, that was a certainly blindsided moment for basically all of us and everybody in the world of golf. Okay, well, Live Golf has already announced their first 4 events for next year. We've got the schedule for next year. So even if a deal were to happen today, this moment, probably don't even see these guys together again until maybe 2026 at the earliest. Let's turn our attention to more upcoming golf tournaments on the PGA Tour. The FedEx Cup Fall. This swing, Mark, has produced now the new version of it. We've gotten some decent kind of like up and coming winners. So I want to know, will we get another young gun a la Ludwig Oberg winning something in the fall to hit the ground running into 2025? Is the concept of a young guy getting out and winning in the next handful of events, is that real or is that feel?
If you just throw this at me and I react with my guts in the fall, I'll be like, yeah, I can, I'm sort of buying what you're selling over there. But when you really get down to the nitty gritty of it all, and you look at the folks who are vying for these 2 spots in the signature events early next year, you got some stud guys playing, and the fall events aren't necessarily just with a bunch of field filling folks. There's some really good players out there, folks that have got to get the next 10 and start to set themselves up for these signature events. Now, you reference Oberg at the RSM Classic. Yeah, that event, I think of, it has the tendency, the penchant to sort of spit out some new winners, but no one really, to me, who can really like make a splash, if there is. Like Luke Clanton, he seems like he's got the chops, but he's got lots of college golf in front of him too. I would say if there was a player that I kind of had my eye on that could really change kind of the way he's spoken about, who was going to be playing in the fall, is Minwoo Lee. I think it's about time for him to go, all right, I've won in Europe. I've got all this hype behind me. I feel like next week at the President's Cup or whenever, he can kind of galvanize that sort of persona. But it's time now to deliver. He's got the charisma, he's got the game. So I'd say if anyone was to do it, it may be Minwoo Lee, because he's got the thing to kick it on and he plays globally. But as for the rest of them, no, I feel like you're going to see a mixture of veterans and youngsters sort of winning, just very much like Pat and Gazara. So no, I'm a little feely right now on this one.
Minwoo Lee is certainly on that short list, Patrick. He's 60th in the FedEx Cup standing, so that means he will certainly be involved this fall. You maybe throw in a Neil Shipley into the conversation, Pearson Coody, and then maybe even the brand spanking new Michael Thorpe Bjornsson as a professional. These are the types of guys that I think make the short list for what I'm looking for this fall.
I agree with Mark. I'm feel on this one. Minwoo's definitely the one to keep an eye on, but he's 26 now. This is the time last year where he caught fire, right? He won on the Asian tour at like 100 under. He won in Australia as well during the winter. And so I know he's a bubble boy for the next 10, but another way to get into those signature events, being inside the top 30 in the world, he's currently number 40. So that's just another mechanism through which he could qualify for all of them. If you're inside the top 30 the week preceding, you get into those. And so I believe he said at the Pro Core that the next 10 isn't really weighing too much on his mind because he has that also to rely on also. And he wants to play in Australia and maybe, he's playing in the President's Cup also. And so I'm going to go feel, because like Mark said, there's a lot of lot of kind of grizzled veterans that are playing good enough golf. Like Matt Kuchar's playing some really good golf lately, and a lot of those types who I think are going to dominate this fall.
Only so many wins to go around. We saw it in the meat of the schedule with Scottie and Xander, and it's going to be the same story here in the fall. We are going to turn our attention to major championship season. Never too early. I'm told it is never too early to talk about major championships. So we are going to hit those after a quick word from our partners.
CBS Sports HQ, giving you college football coverage unlike anyone else.
We're talking Big Ten.
Pre- and post-game coverage.
Are you encouraged with the way that this team responded?
Along with breaking news.
A lot of movement in the rankings this week.
Highlights and expert analysis.
That streak could be in jeopardy here.
Sure. What was your main takeaway from this game? How impressive was his domination?
That really changed the football game.
Let's go ahead and have some more fun.
Another wild ending.
The chaos continues.
Turn to CBS Sports HQ.
And we're back. We are playing Real or Feel here on the First Cut podcast, and it's now time for the major championships. And gentlemen, let's just pick up right where we left off in 2024. Scottie Scheffler or Xander Schauffele wins another major championship in 2025. Mark, is that real or is it feel?
So real. So, and you know me, I'm the guy that's been around the PGA Tour forever. I've seen the comings and the goings. I've seen the trends. I've seen let's love my friend Kyle Porter reaction to someone playing well for 3 weeks and all of a sudden he's the greatest because strokes gained says so. And so, I'm not one to kind of, get overly excited. But Scottie, the way he's playing is next level. Scottie, the way he's keeping things in perspective is another level above the next level. And Scottie, just with the amount of self-belief he has and the way he plays golf courses, he's just always going to be around. And all the golf courses that we're going to next year really, really fit what he does. And speaking of fitting what people do, Xander, I don't think there's a golf course right now that doesn't fit what he does. Not just because of the way he hits it, but because of the way he scrambles and the way he putts. And the guy is almost automatic from about 6-7 feet. And in major championships, that's the sort of stuff you're going to make to stay relevant and to stay in the game. So both of them are going to be in the game. And they're both the kind of players where just because they're in the game late Sunday, people tend to want to fall over in front of them. So yeah, I'm very much real on this one.
Well, those venues, Patrick, of course, Augusta National. We're going back to Quail Hollow, Oakmont, and then Royal Portrush. So I ask you, Scottie Scheffler and Xander Schauffele, who dominated the 2024 majors, is it feel or real that they get the job done at least once in 2025?
It is real, and I will go as far to say that we will get a duel between the two. I think Oakmont is going to set up perfectly for both of their games, long and straight off the tee. They're both certainly that. The restoration process was actually completed today, I believe, at Oakmont with Gil Hanse doing the job over there. And so, yeah, I mean, they were by far number one, like 1A and 1B, you could even say, this year in 2024. I don't see why they would slow down in 2025. I think Scheffler has an unbelievable chance to be the first Masters champion to go back-to-back since Tiger, right? Am I missing there?
I can't remember who's gone back-to-back, to be honest.
Faudo, Jack, and Tiger, I think.
I think that's the list as well. So I was going back since Tiger, and I think you're good there.
Okay. I think he has a great chance to do that, having already experienced what it's like to go back to Augusta National as a previous champion. I think Xander, you throw Quail Hollow, he easily could have won there if it wasn't for a getting steamrolled by Rory McIlroy on Sunday this past year. I know it's going to be a bit of a different golf course, but still. And so I think those first three major championships, they're going to be in it on Sunday. You would think, given how they played this year. So I'm going to say real.
Your back-to-back winners, indeed. Nicholas did it in, I just had it up here. It was, oh boy, I just had it. Okay, here we go. 64-65. No.
Nicholas is
65, 65, 66. Apologies.
Okay.
65, 66. Then Faldo did it 89, 90.
Yeah.
Tiger did it 2001, 2002. For those yelling at their screens that Bubba did it, no, that's wrong. Adam Scott was in between them. Ben Hogan was in the middle of 2 Sam Snead victories, so played spoiler there. And then, of course, Gene Sarazen won the second Masters. Horton Smith won the first and third. So a little bit of sandwich action from those guys. Did not go back to back. Well, we've already given at least one major to Xander and or Scottie Scheffler. So Patrick, you're up on the first timers. Does a first time major champion happen in 2025? And of course, the short list of contenders: Ludwig Oberg, Victor Hovland, Patrick Cantlay. And then, of course, you do get the luxury of everybody else who's not on the short list just popping up and sneaking one. So will there be, let's call it 2 first-time major winners in 2025?
2. I'm going to say no to that.
That's feel.
That is feel. I looked at the list. Ludwig, obviously. Hovland's looked much better towards the end of the year. Short game still sketchy. He was, third to last in strokes gained around the green in 2024. Cantlay, I'm concerned about the extracurriculars. How much time is he going to spend on bidding for multifamily properties in the Atlanta Metroplex instead of practicing at the driving range? You got to throw that into consideration. And so I think, honestly, the over-under should be half, and I will be tempted to go under that one also. But I'll go under 2 with feel based on just kind of the nuances and variability of some major championships.
First one's hard to get, Mark. First one's really hard to get. Are we going to have somebody break through in 2025 and get a major championship for the first time?
Think about some really great players that took forever to get their first one. Adam Scott, Phil Mickelson, David Duval. I think you know where I'm kind of going here. Are we going to see 2 first-timers win? No. That's very much feel. I would even would love to Ludwig and to know all the other candidates. I don't think we see a first-timer next year. I really don't. And the reason being is I've always said it, Augusta National loves its champions. Royal Port Rush is a real sort of it's kind of no, it's not a members golf course, but you got to know it. And hence Shane Lowry playing so well. It's kind of like County Down at the Irish Open in 24, where you could see Rory sort of knew the place because he was from close by. And then Oakmont is just a brute. And because it's so difficult, every so often there at Oakmont, you get the person that you're not kind of expecting to win. I think that's probably the best chance of someone winning there, one of the first timers. And then the PGA Championship at Quail. No, you're going to see someone who plays that course well. Rory McIlroy probably contend over there. So I'm quite content. I'm right with Patrick there to go. I don't think we see a first timer next year.
Well, let's start naming names. These are rapid fire. Will these golfers win a major championship in 2025? Patrick, Rory McIlroy wins a major championship in 25. Feel or real?
Feel. Not happening.
Mark, John Rahm wins a major championship in 2025. Feel or real?
Feel.
Ooh. Colin Morikawa, Patrick, wins a major championship, would be his 3rd in 2025. Real or feel?
Real.
Oh, there we go. We've got a real.
I'll bet you right on that.
Oh, got a little bit of dissenting opinions. Brooks Koepka, Mark, wins a major championship in 2025. Real or feel?
You try to team me up with social media by asking about one of the 2 leading players on Live. Okay, Live, folks. Feel. No, he's not winning. I'll tell you what, if anyone between he and Rahm are winning a major next year, I'm going Rahm, and Rahm's not winning, so Brooks is feel.
All right, well, we can get a soundbite from Patrick now, too, because Bryson DeChambeau will win a major championship in 2025. Patrick, real or feel?
I'm going to go feel. He will contend, but I don't think he'll win.
Last one.
I'm going to go real there. It's Brasson is real. It's Brasson 2.0, or whatever you want to call this. He's the real deal.
Yeah,
he's in love with the game. He's in love with the challenge of it. He's in love with folks who love him and folks who hate him. Either way, he's trying to get you to love him, and he's playing the game like a kid. And with all that power around an Oakmont or something like that, I'm gonna have him earmarked for one or two of those majors next year.
First, it would be the middle too, the PGA and the U.S. Open, because the Open Championship, I think, is pretty much a lost cause, which is fine. He's going to be great at 97% of the golf courses, just not the 3% that, I mean, there's more than 3%, obviously, in that part of the world. The Masters, I think there's some concern, at least over the weekend this past year, without his tools and toys of the green speed and the firmness of that place. You saw it get to him. But I do agree with you, Mark. Quail Hollow, he's played well at. Oakmont is right up his alley, too. But I've already given 3 major championships to Xander, Scottie, and Colin. So I had to go feel.
Mark, I think we are at least on Bryson 6.0 at this point, not just 2.0. We've got skinny Bryson, beefy Bryson, long drive Bryson, saddle putting Bryson.
But isn't it funny? Because I'm talking about Bryson the personality, and Bryson the personality was prickly, and now he's loving. And I feel like as that's changed, his game has loosened up. Now, if we go just to the physicality of it, isn't it curious? Bryson, who was just the big guy, beefy brute who was bludgeoning the ball as hard as he could, now he comes out in the media and goes, yeah, I'm not trying to hit it as long as I used to, because I figured playing from the fairway is equally important. So, yeah, we are.
We are going to continue this conversation, and we're going to open it up a little bit to some of the listeners. We have an email address now, gentlemen, and they've been lighting up Josh's inbox. It's been great, and we've got a couple of questions here that I want to pass along to you guys. So we'll hit those, but first we're going to take a quick break and hear a word from our partners.
At CBS Sports Galazzo Network, we're bringing you the game.
Madness of Messi arrives!
Breaking down the game.
This is unlike anything else in the world.
And changing the game.
Get it all for nil.
That means free.
Whoa.
And all day long!
24/7.
And we're back. So the email address that you can reach us, aka Josh, and he is contractually obligated to respond to it. Oh. No, he's not. Could you imagine if he was? He's not.
He should.
But he will read it. No, he will read it. It is firstcutpodcast@gmail.com. It is very, very simple. We've already been seeing these emails roll in. I've been CC'd on a couple of them. You guys are insane people, but we love it. So
your email address?
No, but it's out there. It's out there somewhere. Patrick has made the mistake of giving out his email address before.
Yeah. Don't do it, Mark. Trust me.
No, I got a burner.
Good. Very smart. I have a couple of these here teed up that I think are good conversations to go with. And this is actually kind of addressed towards you, Mark, because he's looking kind of from an instructional standpoint. This is from Grant. And he wants to know what the difference is between a 5 handicap and what that person needs to do to become a scratch golfer. I assume that Grant is a 5 handicap. And is trying to get down to that 0 number and is kind of trying to learn what might be those things that are different between him and somebody who can go out and call themselves a scratch.
Well, this is pretty easy. I wouldn't call it simple. And I can't describe the mechanics of it because every player is different. But I would say if you just wanted to give a person a recipe for doing this, number 1, avoid big numbers. If you're going to make a mistake, make sure bogey is the worst you make. I'll reference the great philosopher Webb Simpson, who once said to me, he goes, I'm cool with a bogey or making 1 mistake. I don't want to make 2 mistakes in a row. So if you're in trouble, make sure bogey is the worst you're going to make. You can recover from that. When you start to make big numbers, that really cuts into your time to get back to par or better. Then secondly, it's not about birdie production. It really, really isn't. It's about making as many pars as you can, because oftentimes when you're going after birdies, you might be rash, aiming at certain hole locations. Then you make those soft bogeys where you've got pitching wedge in hand, you attack a stupid flag, and then you're kind of spending a shot where hit it on the green, take 2, get out there. you got 1 par on your way, because the reality of this is 18 fours adds up to 72. And then along those lines, I'll say this, and I used to preach this to my college team. I'm like, as a good golfer, not necessarily elite, but as a solid golfer, if you make 4s on the 5s and 3s on the 3s, you got the nucleus for a very, very good round. Now, not everyone's going to birdie all the par 5s, but let's say you pick off 2 on the 5s, and then you make 4 3s. You've got 8 holes, nearly half the round played 2 under. And then you just have to be somewhat pedestrian over the other 10 holes, and you're going to shoot around 73, 74, 72 most times you play. So avoid big numbers. Rash bogeys from the middle of the fairway are just a no-go. And then along those lines, recovery. And I'm going to catch heat for this because everyone's going to say, well, you've got to drive it longer and stuff. Yes, that helps. But if you're going to miss a target, and I'm going to quote another great golfer in Nick Price, who on my very podcast, in fact, had earned a chapter in my book. He's taken a number of young South African golfers under his wing. And to each and every one of them, he said, now, Nick Price, just as a preamble or postscript to this, is comfortably one of the great ball strikers of all time, easily so. And he would say to them, he goes, 72 holes in a tournament. If I hit the ball really well, I'll hit kind of 15, 16 greens. If I'm kind of average, I'm going to hit like 12, 13. So he goes, over 4 rounds, you're missing from 8 to about 16 greens in regulation. He goes, so the ability to make saves on those holes, the ones where you miss the green in regulation, that's going to define who you are. And he said when he realized that is when he became a major champion and a world's #1 player. So avoid big numbers, avoid the rash bogey from the fairway, par the par 3s, 4 of them on the course, make the odd birdie on the 5s, and then just realize golf's a game of recovery, and you're going to be well on your way.
Patrick, what is your handicap now? 2?
In the system.
Or am I not giving you enough credit?
I don't think you are based on the database that I'm in. Let me try to find it here.
Oh my goodness.
DSGA. It's a bit of a vanity handicap though.
That's okay. What is it?
I am a. Can you see
put it closer to the camera? No.
0.8.
Wow, 0.8. So here we've got our scratch golfer here. There he is.
Or, wait, Patrick, that kind of looks like 8.0 in the screen.
No, it's a 0.8. So Patrick, so you've experienced this this progression. What is it about your game specifically that you were able to kind of tighten up to shave those strokes?
Mark hit the nail on the head. I try to get past the par 3s and even par. I'm rarely pin seeking on any of those holes. If I can find 4 greens in regulation on those 4 holes, I am super, super happy. I got to get the damage done on the par 5s, the 4 par 5s. I agree with Mark where, I'm trying to make birdie on all of them pretty much. But if you get 2 of them, that's a really good day, in my opinion. And then I'm trying to play the par 4s and even par also. So I've gotten a lot better inside 100 yards these past couple years, which helps with recovery as well. My putting isn't great. It's probably the one part of my game that really needs to improve. But with a wedge in hand, I feel super confident. I feel like I can get up and down kind of from anywhere. And to quote the great philosopher Webb Simpson, the one mistake on a hole is huge. You cannot compound mistakes because that's when the big number creeps in. So really just echoing everything Mark said.
There you go. A lot of strategy, a lot of mental side, a lot of swallowing your pride. Just go make a bogey. Don't make a double.
I want to say this, Rick. It's quality allocation of practice time too. Because I would venture a guess here, even a wager, that most golfers, when they go to the range and they have some practice time, they'll hit, if I'm lucky, a few wedges. They'll probably go to a 7-iron or some vanity club that makes them feel good, 7-8 iron, whatever. And then if I'm lucky, they might hit a fairway metal. But then it's just lash drivers. And you're going to hit 14 of those, and you're going to have, if you're a decent putter, have 30 putts around. So you're hitting more putts than you are drive shots. So allocate your practice time properly and go and work on that short game stuff. But that's the important thing.
So Josh asked a very good question in the chat. So Mark, let's say I have an hour to practice. How should I break up my hour to get the most out of it? Obviously, it's not hitting drivers for 58 minutes.
No, I would spend a lot of time for most golfers watching this. Go to the range, hit a few, get the feel for your swing, then play from some uneven lies. Play from some good lies, some poor lies. Don't rake up a ball all the time. So throw balls different places. Move targets around the place for different wind angles and stuff like that. Keep yourself off balance. Do that for like 20 minutes. Then go and do 20 minutes on the green. Then go to 20 minutes around the green. There's basically 4 departments in the game. And you've hit a few drives there. You've hit a few irons. And then you basically log the rest of the practice time around and on the greens.
I love it. Okay. Well, listen, if you can't shave a couple of strokes off your game with those nuggets, something is going very wrong. Here's another one. How about this? Because this is something that Moses asks, and Patrick, we use this word a lot. We say the word talented. This guy's talented. He has a ton of talent, and it seems to pop up often for young guys, Tom Kim, Ludwig Oberg, right? But what do we mean by that? Is that something where, Luke Clanton is talented, but maybe we rarely say Brendan Todd is talented? Is it just like an elite skill set type of thing?
Well, I would say everyone playing professional golf at any level is talented. Okay, let's throw that out there first. But I think when we are comparing the two, I think what we mean, at least me personally, is they're able to do things with the golf ball that the other guy might not be able to, like a Ludwig Oberg. That's going into the stratosphere. Rory McIlroy, his talent level is higher than, no offense to Brendan Todd, big fan of Brendan Todd, than Brendan Todd. It's because he can do things with the golf ball that Brendan Todd can't. Now, Brendan Todd, better putter than Rory McIlroy, but I think from tee to green, that's kind of where our focus is from time to time, and not so much on the greens, which maybe isn't correct, but I would just say that's kind of how I think we look at it.
Yeah. And Mark, I think it's easy for us to get you see all these young guys I see all these young guys come up and say, oh my gosh, they're all just brimming with talent, and they are, but there is a side of it that, as we've mentioned and kind of poked Patrick about in the past, there's an eye test to this.
Yeah, there is no doubt an eye test to this. I would just build on or mine a little bit what Patrick said. You're right. We do throw the word talent around. I think that's a bit lazy. It's intellectually lazy, because everyone at the highest elite level is talented. And I would say, if you look at them as players, there are certain players that are uber talented around the greens. Think of Shane Lowry. The guy's got magical hands. And then there are guys that are unreal and super talented speed-wise. There's your Rory and your Ludwig, where the balls just take off like homesick angels. And then you got guys that are kind of creative talents, shot makers like Bubba Watson pops to mind, or real sort of crafty players like a Justin Thomas, who are always creating something with a golf ball. So that's their talent. So each and every one of these players has a talent. But what we tend to do as players is you go and stand there and watch Rory hit, and it looks different to other people because of the speed of it. We're like, he's talented. But you go put them around the greens, and if it was just around the greens contest, you'd be like, Shane Lowry's the talented one. So you got to define where you're going, in my opinion. But the reality of this is, anyone at the elite level, they are talented. They just have different talents.
And we are going to do our best to decipher and explain those different talents moving forward, as opposed to just saying, this guy's got all the talent in the world. I'm guilty.
Yeah, that's it. That's such a good call, because the one thing that grinds my gears as an announcer is if I'm watching golf on TV and some guy, the ball hits it on the green, he goes, oh, that's a good shot. It's about 20 feet. I'm like, yeah, I can see this. You don't need to tell me what I'm watching. At least tell me why it's a good shot. Tell me what was the talent required to do that shot over there. Don't just call the spade a spade. Am I wrong?
No,
it's a television program. It's not a radio show, Mark. I can see it. I can see it.
Yep.
And I'm going to take grief because I will make a lazy call one time because I don't know, may have checked out mentally, whatever the case might be. But when it's habitual, that's not an announcing talent. I'll tell you that for sure.
Oh, perfect little bow on the talent conversation. I'm going to put a bow on this episode. I'm going to say this. If you want to hear more about anything, the email address is firstcutpodcast@gmail.com. Josh will read all of those and we'll get as many into the show as we can, especially over the course of the next couple of weeks where we've got a little bit more time to cover these topics. However, that is not next week because we are going to be rocking and rolling on a full slate of President's Cup action next week, a Monday show, a Tuesday show, and of course the round by round, day by day recaps for next week's President's Cup in Montreal. Gentlemen, any final thoughts or can I shut us down?
Au revoir.
Oh,
Thank you.
Little pro tip for speaking with the French. You just go, how you say, hamburger.
Mark has already proved that he knows more French than I do by just
He's a valuable resource for you, Rick.
He is at least one word ahead. I have a couple of days to brush up. I'm going to have to go figure that out. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to see y'all next week. I'm going to say big thanks to producer Josh. Actually, no, we have another podcast coming out this week. So it's not next week. We will see you again this week. It'll come out on Thursday, I believe, in both video and audio formats. Big thanks to producer Josh. Mark Immelman is available at Mark_Immelman. Patrick McDonald at P McDonald CBS, and you can find me at Rick Run Good. This has been The First Cut. We'll catch you next time.